Yeah, so let's dive into the first question. So the AI adoption in GTM. So Apollo, I think it's working really well. Hyperbound, I personally really like it. And well, there's also some what can I say, controversial companies. So I was at SaaStr today. Do you guys know what's the Wi-Fi code? Take a guess.
I know someone usually sponsors it, but I don't know what it is this year.
Oh, Artisan is sponsoring it. Then what's the code?
Don't hire humans?
Yeah, did I tell you?
No, I just guessed.
Oh, okay, because you saw the bus stop. Yeah, anyway, so the interesting thing is the people who are the registration, they work for the event programming companies, and they need to point it to people, here's the Wi-Fi code. So they are being replaced by AI, and they resent it, and they're like, what the fuck? And a lot of people got really, really upset about that. So I personally tried to talk to Artisan to see if they want to do a podcast. They're like, nah. And Jim also heard a controversial speech today. Two companies, one say AI SDR, let's go. One say AI couldn't do it. So now I want to ask each one of you's opinion. What is working? What is not? Especially starting with the SDR, which is very controversial right now. So.
You want me to start?
Sure, please.
Yeah, and I'm curious to hear your take on this as well from a B2C perspective because, I firmly believe as well that the future of sales is human as well. I'm a big fan of a guy named Ethan Mollick, who's written a book called Co-Intelligence, where he talks about AI won't necessarily replace every function, but if you're not using it as a co-intelligence, you're doing yourself a disfavor. But I do think in certain top of funnel sales organizations or where it's inbound leads, I think that we'll see a lot more SDR AI chatbots taking up the bulk of those calls. But I think still on the outbound motion, at least from what I can see today, I think it's going to remain mostly human for the short term anyway. What do you think, Josh?
I love this controversy. Everyone always gets so worked up about it. I already know two really good inbound chatbots.
Yeah.
One of them is a voice AI and one of them is a chatbot that are genuinely good products, and a lot of larger customers are getting really good results from it. That's actually one of my favorite use cases for AI right now. I think the AI SDR can work, and it probably will eventually work to where an AI is smart enough to research the right accounts and then do the outreach in a way that people actually respond to. I'm running a test right now with two companies that are taking a new approach to it differently than like 11x and Artisan have been doing. The data's not in yet, but smarter AI that are learning from the lessons of those companies, I think will be they'll have a shot. I'm of the opinion that GTM engineering, which we've already seen work, a human sits down, understands the AI tools, builds out workflows, tailored to the campaign that they're making for outbound, that we know works. I think that and AI SDRs are going to converge a couple steps up.
So on outbound?
On outbound.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they're going to converge. I'm seeing this with companies like Common Room coming out and normally coming out productizing popular workflows that people are making in play. Well, now you can buy this tool and get that workflow without all the effort. That's like one step up in GTM engineering. One step up in AI SDRs are what I'm testing with those two other companies. They're taking a slightly different approach, but I think eventually you get an AI that can build the workflows for you. And you get an AI that's learned from all of the human effort that we're putting in now. So that's what I see happening. AI SDRs did not work last year. It's become a meme. I'll see if the next generation of companies or the next versions of them work. We're all going to be testing it. But yeah, you mentioned inbound. That's one area that AI is already bringing real ROI for companies. Another one is something like Hyperbound, where you can go in and practice before you go talk to a live prospect. That's another area. My third favorite use case, and I'll stop, is watching all the data that comes into your sales force, watching all the prospecting data that you're bringing in, and just analyzing the market for you and like raising a signal. It's probably a good time to reach out to this account. And that's all the AI does. Then the human steps in. That's already working really well, and it has been for a while.
And is that, do you find that in account-based marketing where they're doing propensity to buy from the data that they're collecting?
Yeah, yes. So I know a company right now that has a huge database, and they can point out data as granular as the amount of revenue per lawyer that a law firm is making compared to all of their competitors in the same city. You just don't have access to data like that without using AI tools and a lot of web scraping and a lot of different things that are kind of under the hood. It's also hard, the larger your company gets, to analyze all the data that your customers are generating in your CRM to let you know these are right for an upsell and these aren't. Let's see, what year was it? 2022, there was a great company. 2022, there was a great company that was analyzing customer data and like raising the point, hey, your CS team should go speak to this customer about this particular upsell, and here's why. It's really hard for a human to do that.
Yeah.
So extrapolating that out into prospecting.
Yeah, I agree with you, what you said, but I feel like AI SDR chatbots, they work better at larger scale. Like let's say for our company. So right now we actually try to test like AI SDRs, like AI outbound outreach, all that stuff. But at this stage, we felt like it's not worth it because we still rely mostly on referrals, and we don't have that like large volume of outreach to do. And sometimes human might be cheaper, or it's a lot less effort from the team. But I think at large scale, I definitely think AI can do the work. And another point I want to also echo is on the voice AI. Actually, I have seen a lot of adoptions in the B2C space. So we are doing a lot of lead generations for like insurance companies, law firms, all these like B2C service areas. And so the way they generate, they do sales is they get a lead, or somebody dial into their call center. Or if they get a lead, they do an outbound call from the call center. So it's actually like big scale, large volume. There are a lot of calls. So I have seen a lot of like call centers started to using this kind of voice AI to do outbound calls, because this work is not too complicated. It's just like qualification, like what's your age, what's your income level, do you have an insurance, things like that. So I have seen really, really good results on that.
Maybe a quick question I wanted to ask you guys, since you guys are so much closer to like the actual implementation of it, is like, I heard the biggest critique with some of the artisans and the 11Xs is that it's really easy to like buy into this first narrative of like, yeah, nobody likes doing sales, we're just gonna automate the hell out of it. And I get that like a lot of the data driven and qualification stuff is gonna like get automated first, but they're calling it like vibe revenue today, which is like you get you get this like big influx of like demand coming in, but then retention just looks like it falls off a cliff. Do you have any idea why it's so hard to prove ROI and why it's so hard to get retention with some of these tools?
Okay, I have so many thoughts. I won't talk as long this time. On the one hand, companies like 11X in particular had a very buggy product. So not even the question of, is the AI smart enough to do this?
Yeah.
It was just bugging out. I heard so many reports of that, of we made this list, we set our exclusions on our current customers or something, and it's emailing them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Just simple things like that really shouldn't be happening. That happened a lot. And I heard through the grapevine also that AI SDR and 11X and a couple of the other companies considered themselves as having grown too quickly. Their leadership team wished they had brought in more support instead of just growing the customer base as quickly as they did. I heard that like through a couple other people that know them personally better than I do. So I mean, take that for what you will. But those companies grew very quickly. I think they just sort of outpaced what they could support. Yeah, I'll add that.
Right.
I'll let you speak first.
Okay. Well, so yeah, and I think the retention issue is probably a little bit outside of my initial my experience, but there's a foundational fact that I got from Gartner a couple of years ago that said 76% of buyers would rather not talk to sales. So if that's a foundational truth, then an AI chatbot, especially in an inbound motion, should solve that problem, right? And if we think about the advent of things like digital sales rooms, where I've got, maybe a captive curated sales experience that could be run by a chatbot, the buyer should like that because they control the narrative, right? So I think to Josh's point, probably the sustainability of early stage fell off just because it wasn't meeting the need that they weren't going to see the return on that.
I wonder how you reconcile that. I also read a stat that 82% of customers and consumers prefer more human interaction. So maybe it's like depending on the buyer, what is it called, the buyer journey. Like if they're looking for information, if they're looking for evaluation, if they're just trying to find like all that is out there, they maybe prefer to talk to a computer.
Yeah, and I think it's a fascinating thing. So number one, Gartner is not God. I think Gartner was the company that predicted that OS2 would sell more than Windows. And of course we know that wasn't true. But I think that customers have a general reaction to say, I don't really want to talk to sales until I need to talk to sales, right? And I think that's why the human element will continue, especially in highly complex selling environments. Like when I was at Cisco, our product catalog was the size of the LA phone book, right? There's no way that you could anticipate all of those decision trees to get a bot to handle that complex of a sale. So I think I think both are probably true, and it's probably at what juncture of the sales conversation it's taking place.
Good nuance.
Yeah, I just want to add one point. I'm not 100% sure if that's the case for other companies, but what I'm seeing is that I think adoption, so it actually takes the clients a lot of effort to make the AI work. So I think at the beginning, people are willing to test, but then if you really need to make it work, you need to spend time, and the team really need to work with it to get it to work. So I guess that might be another problem.
The inbound voice AI that I was mentioning earlier, the company's name is Pido. I think they take about 8 weeks right now to reach the point where they can qualify a lead and book a meeting to the conversion rate of a human inbound SDR. That's fast.
So 8 weeks of how many people spending time on it?
Of training data.
Oh.
I don't know how much
Okay.
hours go into that work, but just 8 weeks of putting it through simulated sessions and correcting it and training.
I think as long as it doesn't require the clients, employees, to actually spend time on it, I think that should be okay.
For them, it's their team doing a lot of the work with the help of the clients, feeding them data and stuff, but it's going to take some.
Yeah, we do a lot of hand-holding to make sure it works.
8 weeks is still a pretty fast ramp compared to a human. Just saying.
Thanks. So I already feel a little bit nervous because I feel like we are anticipating something is coming, like the AI, voice AI, and also whatever, all those automation is really gonna take away some jobs, while maybe create some new jobs. So